Hello, Ryan Garland. I am your host of the Paradyme Shift. I cannot wait to expose the true inner depths of institutional wealth building and how to dig deep into real estate investing. Hey everybody, Ryan Garland here, founder and chairman of Paradyme. Thank you very much for watching Paradyme Shift podcast. And in fact, Ryan is building us a podcast table, all custom, and he's going to be our main sponsor for our podcast. So I'm really excited to have him here because I think this is going to be very enlightening on what it is we're doing as for Paradyme as a firm moving forward and developing our projects and how we want to lean into the manufacturing side. So before I even chalk it up, how do you pronounce your last name again?
Busnardo.
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 Yes. So don't hold me to that. Sorry, I'm not the best at names, but his name is Ryan. So I better never forget that.
You got that part.
Yeah, I never forget that. So real quick. So it's kind of cool. I want to tell you, maybe I don't think I told you a story. So there's a gentleman by the name of David Colley. David used to be my old videographer. His family knows you from Corona.
Okay.
And so when I was posting you on my social media, his brother, Aaron, and both David texted me and like, hey, we know that guy. We've been looking up to that guy because they're now building barn stuff for like all the rails for the horses and cattle and so forth. And so he's building all that stuff. And I guess apparently they've been following you forever because they're from Corona too.
Yeah.
And so they're like, he's a godfather in the industry. And I'm like, that's good to know. So right out the gate, great reputation just from a friend of mine, you know,
Sure.
and Colley used to work for me.
Yeah.
So he was nicest kid, very savvy, very smart. That was my first full-time videographer. And, you know, to hear him say that about you was really cool because I am watching his business grow and he's in that space at some level. So, but yeah, why don't we, really the idea is just to kind of highlight who you are, your background, your level of sophistication to my network. And the objective is to highlight why Paradyme is stepping into this realm and what we're seeing that's going to be a trendy and good investment moving forward for our investors, but how we're going to create sustainability as a firm too. But manufacturing overall is a dying breed in some cases here in the country. You don't have to go political on it, but you're seeing a lot of manufacturers closing down, especially steel manufacturing.
Yeah.
So before I go far, a little bit about you, your background, how long you've been in the space, your level of sophistication as far as what you have going on now here in Lake Havasu.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Colley brothers because what got me into manufacturing was off-road racing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my family, I come from a long line of metallurgists. My grandfather was a tool and die maker, machinist. My father was a machinist and both retired from that industry, you know, so it was always in my blood. But I started out in business, you know, in life. And through business, I started in off-road racing. That's where I know a lot of the video people and whatnot. Yep. And through off-road racing and racing in general, we developed advanced manufacturing facility. And that led me here to Lake Havasu. I've been coming here for 35 years. It's been a place that's near and dear to my heart. And about 5 years ago now, we moved our manufacturing facility from Southern California, Corona, California, to here in Lake Havasu. We repurposed an old Kmart building here that's 122,000 square feet. And my life's work is machinery.
Yep.
So the manufacturing business in all has changed quite a bit over the years because technology has obsoleted a lot of what's happened in manufacturing, especially in the last decade. You know, advanced manufacturing machines have really redefined how we manufacture and are able to make things. So a lot of technology has put a lot of people out of business because they haven't kept up with the times. Mm-hmm. So we're really happy to be involved with, you know, all forms of the technology in terms of all the computer science and what they bring to the table. And then all of our machines are all CNC machines and whatnot in our facility here in here in Lake Havasu. So we have a lot of capacity at our facility here, which we're excited about, you know, all kinds of new business in terms of that. But really steel manufacturing today can happen much faster than it did in the past. Previously, steel manufacturing, you know, you had to punch a panel out, you had to make, you know, a dot, mm-hmm. you know, and this, you know, that has to be designed. You know, that tooling has to be designed
and then made a whole tool just for that punch.
100% for each part.
Yeah.
Now you can, you know, we have digital press brakes and, you know, fiber lasers and robotic towers and things that can make parts and repeat those parts as if you did have the tooling, one-off tooling to make them. And it's as simple as being able to have computer operators to draw that part to the tolerances, and your machines can kick it out. Now, there still is a absolute place for a machine shop, and that's different from what I'm talking about. The machine shops haven't changed very much at all. But when you can incorporate them with the sheet manufacturing and the other steel manufacturing and robotic welding and all of these other things, now you can really bring a complete product together as a whole, and you can do it rapid.
You can do it in the masses.
In the masses and rapidly. Yeah. And the ability to replicate that part over and over again, the exact part, without, these crazy tooling is really the key. And what's changed in the last decade with steel manufacturing. So I think that has a lot to lend, to it. The fact that government programs rapidly are changing, that has a lot to lend to it.
You bet.
And then there's, most of what you think is a steel manufacturer today is really a broker. There's so many brokers in the space. It's unbelievable. So brokers go to brokers, go to brokers.
I can see off on that. All right, keep going. Yeah.
We see a lot of that, but it's something that we have a passion for, and we love to build product and bring product to the end user, to the consumer. And we like to do it fast. So, we made an incredible investment, here in Lake Havasu to be able to do that on a rapid level. And some of the brands, one of the major brands that is sponsoring your podcast today is our 10-day door brand. So we looked at steel doors and steel doors used to be was made and designed in America. Right. Used to be built here out of tube steel. And in the last 15 years, that's changed. A lot of almost 99% of that product's imported, so we kind of brought back a complete new design to the steel door and made it better than ever before.
Well, I think I have a steel door in my building. Yeah. And I think my builder was using you for all his doors. So I was already opening your doors before I met you, man.
That's great. I appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying
now I know the guy who built the door. I'm so excited.
Right. Doors sounds silly, but everybody needs a door.
Let's be honest, man. When I grabbed that door, even my wife did, she's like, this is a cool door. I'm like, right? This thing, I took my whole body weight to open, but man, it felt masculine, right? It was great. So there's really truth to it. Like the door is cool doors, man.
Hey. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyways, keep going.
Appreciate it. But anyhow, I really like, and our team, when I say we have a great team,
Eddie's a stud.
Yeah. I have a master machinist that runs our machining crew and our machine shop and really overlooks all of our machinery in the shop. Eddie Farrington, which is just an absolute asset to our team. Somebody that I actually found here in Lake Havasu. Or he found me, one or the other. I think it was he found me, but absolute asset to our team. And really our biggest asset is our people. The people that we have and the team that we have. It's by far, and I've heard you say the same thing about your team. Yeah. So, I enjoy working with you.
That's where I think the alignment is. Even when you and I are talking about our controllers, the people who do all our management, all our bank accounts and so forth, that kind of leads into another question that I think a lot of people are just bypassing on other podcasts, which is labor. That is a problem. People have concerns with that here in Lake Havasu. That's a big concern with certain construction trades. And when you and I discussed this, as soon as you expressed what your practices are, I automatically knew you got it handled. So if you don't mind, let's talk about that, because I want people to know the difference between you and what a lot of these other manufacturers are doing. And by just kind of your practice, I think people will see it.
Well, my response in labor is we have to pay at the top of the labor scale. If you want the best, you have to pay for the best. If you expect the best, you have to pay for it. And, you have to have the proper benefits and the facility for individuals to grow and flourish in. And, I'm not afraid of hiring somebody without any skills and to give them those skills, but, the benefits are key for labor. A future is key. Full-time work is key, caring about, your team and their family. And even if you don't take a personal interest in it, having, the systems and, the policies and the procedures set up for them, I think is absolute key. I mean, people are, without people, nothing works.
I've learned just everybody has hardships in life. Yeah. When you're really trying to work to make enough money to go home and have some sort of a decent life, and give to the ones that you love. Yeah. And I think I really appreciate that part of the conversation, because when we first talked, is your culture inside your company. When I walk into any company, any office, what have you, I could feel the energy.
Sure.
And that's just kind of over time, me being in so many different rooms around the world. And because I naturally talk to people about money, that's usually the most sensitive subject.
Sure.
So I feel like I have an ability to read people and their energy and body language. And that's one of the great things that I felt about your environment is obviously you're scaling up to have north of 300 employees, but to see how they are all operating and how cool they are. I mean, the guys were there on a Saturday afternoon. The guys are coming back and like, we'll be here Sunday morning. Like, man, they were like excited to come on Sunday morning like that. And you find guys like that anymore, you know, like, can I bring them over here and there, you know? But it's true to be able to have that environment and people want to work, I think is really key. But that does tell what kind of product you're going to create and perform. But are you going to be able to hit your timelines that we're all leaning into, you know? And that's where I think a lot of operators like me need to touch on more podcasts if they're even going to go down this road, meaning, you know, everybody that you're going to align with, right? Like I looked at this, there's about 300 people that we're employing in this one project. When you look at everybody that's involved at some level, from our subs to architects, engineers, everybody, and then you try to understand every company underneath that. And right now, I think in today's market, you need to pay attention to that more because, for example, my architect or my engineer or like my electrician, you know, one of the concerns are like, are you grandfathered in at a supply house? You know, what size of business do you have? Are you going to get certain treatment to get certain materials? Like those are conversations that people need to have probably more often. I'm watching a lot of operators not know how to really vet that. So, you know, syncing up with a group like yours, not only your track record, 30 years, right? Plus your, like you said, your family, but the way that you operate. And I want you to talk about the level of cuts and calculations and a little bit more about your operation. But to align ourselves with a group that if we are going in to have you guys manufacture all of our buildings, especially the barn caves, when we're thinking, you know, look, we want to do 35 locations, we want millions of square feet, you know, that is you need to look all the way down to that level. That's the detail that needs to be implemented, right? Is sure. Down to even the manufacturing side. And that alone is a problem, you know, so let's go into, you know, the level of cuts and you have aerospace, you know, kind of contracts. And then let's talk about just overall the industry itself and kind of the problems that are being had.
Sure. Well, timeline wise, the way I look at timelines, Ryan, is there are objections that just need to be overcome. So, you know, if we care and we put our thought process into it, we can always overcome them as long as we have the proper facility and the assets to do so. Now, one of the things about me is I do everything in house, and I mean everything. So from a engineered design, from drawing it on the computer, 3D CAD, you know, I have a whole team that does that, and we operate an up-to-date we 12 seats of SolidWorks that we operate, to exporting the numerous of those designs to the numerous different programs that run different machines, whether it be in the G code in the machine shop, you know, at the cutting levels, to the machinist that Eddie runs and whatnot that we spoke of earlier, whether it be to the advanced manufacturing steel equipment or to the coating. You know, we have the ability to scale up or down at any level. So if I have a project that needs coating and I'm going to wait on a coder or a third level, you know, vendor on something, I typically will build an oven and a spray booth to get it done.
Right.
So, you know, they're just objections to, you know, that need to be overcome. That's why I've made such an incredible investment in our team and our facility here that I'm not at capacity at, because I've made such an investment in this. So that's where I really enjoy our conversation and watching you with your projects. And, you know, because I think that, if I can align myself with somebody like you and bring those projects to fruition much faster, I think the whole world wins. So,
you know, we're having problems. I know, for example, let's talk about the equipment we're talking about, you know, think about buying. You know, you said on average, and I agree with you, that we have roughly, let's say 54,000 pieces here at Paradyme Storage, 225,000 square feet. The equipment that we're working on getting is going to produce 68,000 cuts a month.
Well,
is it that?
That's one piece of the 5 equipment that so in essence,
isn't that
crazy though? Really what we'd be able to do, you know, you have about 26,000 pieces in this whole facility of one of the machines that could produce 64,000 pieces.
Got it.
So, in essence, with the machinery, we'd be able to build 2 of these facilities a month. And a month is a 22-day work cycle.
That's 500,000 square feet of storage, basically.
in a month.
And
and that's just with these beginning machines that we're talking, that we have conversation about.
There's more out there, but there's so much more to our product. Cause look at all of our walls. I mean, we're, fully insulated. You have panels on both sides of the studs. I mean, there is a lot more here than most storage.
There really is.
That'll give you an idea.
One of the things that I really love too about being able to work with you is the level and the quality that you build. I mean, it's really, if you look around, and this facility in particular, the spacing, really the ease of use of everything and the quality. Like you said, everything's double insulated, and this is a harsh environment where we are here.
Well, right now it's 108 outside.
Right.
And it's 74 degrees. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good inside here in one of these facilities. So, when somebody has a $2.5 million boat, or, they have these they like to have it in this type of facility. So, and
it's not even they need to.
They have to.
Man,
or it's ruined.
They're ruining your stuff. Yeah, it's literally a true investment to keep your toys, or even your toys are investments,
Indeed.
So
indeed.
You gotta take care of it. But anyways, keep going. Sorry.
But I love to work with somebody like you in terms of the quality and the detail. So detail's everything in life for me. So, and
that's what's going to separate us, moving forward. And so, everything I'm doing right now is Barn Cave, kind of recircle around that product, because we're looking at other sites right now to acquire. So we're pretty, in essence, pregnant on this product. And then we're supposed to be breaking ground here pretty soon on the gym. Which you were coming to you for all. And I think you already know that. But, I think really for us, we see a lot of bottlenecks in the materials and so forth with all these buildings, and the delays we've had have been, if we want to do millions and millions of square feet, that we can't have those issues.
Yeah.
And, at the same time, we want to be able to deliver results when we say we're going to deliver something. Yeah. I hate feeling like I got to rely on somebody else, and then that person's not being honest or truthful, because us as an operator, it's hard to really be honest with everybody else when we're just relaying the message.
100%.
So I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, we're already seeing bottlenecks, and this is kind of becoming more problematic for every developer and operator that I'm talking to that is in self-storage, metal buildings in any shape or form. So I'm looking at it going, well, not only can we stop the bleeding and us not have so many issues and bottlenecks on materials if we were manufacturing our own buildings, and obviously saving money and making better investments and so forth, bringing down risk.
Meeting timelines
and everything else. And in fact, we can get to a point where we are taking our pro forma and cutting it in half, because I'm designing everything around the issues that we're already seeing in the industry.
Sure.
If I can say, okay, well, those issues don't exist because we're manufacturing our own buildings, now our profit goes through the roof because I'm cutting my timeline a lot.
Right.
That's a different level now.
And getting the product that you initially intended to get.
Yeah, this is more institutional grade. Go get $100 million line of credit, $200 million line of credits. These are the practices and strategies that you have to implement when you're looking at going big. So, on top of additional revenue streams. So now I can go to all these other operators and builders and developers that I have great relationships with and go, hey, I know you're having issues, but we're manufacturing buildings. I don't have enough. You and I have equipment that can handle way more than what I'm needing.
100%.
So let's produce that on top of, not only now they can go back to having a standard regular business model too, because again, the biggest problem right now in this industry as an operator from my standpoint is getting this material on time.
Yeah.
At a good price. A lot of prices continue to adjust, and that's okay. And we get all those, but if we'd like to know kind of what you're getting yourself into early on. So here's your deposit. Here's what it's going to be. Guys like us go buy all the material. That price is fixed until we deliver, but that's a big help, for guys like me.
It's funny to hear you say that too, because really what lies in the middle of that is these multiple brokers. That cuts into your profitability. That cuts into your timeline.
It's
both.
Wild how much these brokers are making. Like, I'm not trying to do,
everybody's got to make
business.
a buck.
This is business. But these brokers, I'm thinking we're probably paying 35-40% more than what that building could cost us.
Yeah.
Just with broker fees.
Yeah. If we continue down the road that we're going down, you'll really have a 122,000 square foot manufacturing facility that will be able to cut a lot of the brokers out of all the product, because like I said, we don't just build steel buildings like most steel building manufacturers build. We build everything.
Yeah.
So we have, you alluded to it, we have a full 9001 ISO machine shop, we have 6 vertical mills, we have 2 8-axis lathes, we have, a multitude of machines that can build any and every product. So And then, all of the measuring machinery to make sure that that product's being duplicated. Then we have an enormous advanced manufacturing facility in that. We have big fiber laser tower robotic machines that can run day and night to provide, let's say we're doing roll-ups we were talking about earlier. A lot of what hold that up isn't the paneling, it's the hardware.
Yeah, so the garage doors.
We're able to create that hardware in-house ourselves. And, our machines can run overnight.
Yeah.
So we can literally make hundreds of thousands of parts monthly in the facility. But I think what the biggest part is what's lost in translation between the middlemen, and that's, I think, talking to so many investors and especially you and really getting in tune to your operation. That's really, I think, where I can really shine when we're working together. And I think how you can really shine for other investors is there is no middleman. They're dealing with one person, you and
me and you.
Yeah. Well, you're dealing with me and we're us, so
Ryan,
it's real.
Order some more spools. Do we got another order? Let's go. It's not that difficult.
No, it really isn't.
But that, all the way down to just to be a little more, just full disclosure here, we just had some issues with one of our buildings and the load calcs weren't right.
Yeah.
And, we're adding some more material and come to find out the broker that we're working with was even outsourcing the engineering.
Yeah.
So the original engineer that stamped the building originally for the approvals, they didn't go back to that same engineer to do the additional load that we were putting up on the wood roof. And it's like, so of course that new engineer
creates a lot of liability and everything else.
It creates liability for them. So of course they're not going to put their name on that. And it just became more and more problematic. So even from an engineering side, which is also a dying breed, bad, fast.
Big time.
I think the idea is for us to go in and acquire that, which also helps, again, other operators and developers saying, listen, not only do we manufacture buildings, we got engineering for you here in-house. And they work for us exclusively. So you can have open dialogue with them, that type of stuff to kind of help these guys get through it, And obviously having Rob on the architectural side, a lot of these things, I think ultimately we can start helping other developers and builders build their dreams and actually get the buildings. And then again, the store or the garage doors.
Yeah.
That's another, huge piece of, you and I were just talking before the podcast. I know builders right now that are building single family homes, but can't get their garage doors and can't get their COO.
Crazy.
And sign off on the house to be able to sell it because they can't get a garage door. That's
simple piece.
But, again, you and I talk about it offline, the amount of problems that we're seeing on the manufacturing side, and they're relying on so much material coming overseas. That is a problem. So we can fill a niche and create additional revenue streams, which protects the corporation and the brand, and then bring in all kinds of wonderful things here. You're one of the top 10 employers here now, right?
Indeed, yeah.
So, and just the support and the community support and help. It's just, like I say all the time, if it's a win-win, I think that's the way that makes any investment, any relationship flourish. Really.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think that was really kind of it that I wanted to touch on. I think there was, and we don't want to spill the beans too soon. We'll do a second podcast for sure. But other than that, man, is there anything else you want to add?
Not unless you can think of something.
I think I'm good, man.
Show.
So perfect. Right on. Well, thank you guys all very much. We'll do a second one and a third one, I'm sure, especially when he brings the new podcast table over, as they are our sponsors, which is, again, 10-Day Doors. So thank you guys all very much, and on to the next. Cool.
That's right.